Very pale, am I? That's just my face. One thing you should know about me is that I have anywhere from 12 to 15 existential crises a day. It doesn't take much to push me over the edge into a existential crisis. But one thing that has always helped to soothe these crises is literature. So today we're going to be talking about the books that have helped me make sense of life and existence and just like being alive in general. Does that sound like fun? First book we're going to talk about is my absolute baby, East of Eden. One time I was having a bad day, and I asked my partner at the time, who was actually, looking back, the reason why I was having a bad day. I was like, will you just get me down East of Eden? I just need to hold East of Eden. And so I was just like on the couch holding East of Eden. And that's why I'm really an insufferable person and you shouldn't date me. So, yeah, let's talk about this. I like this edition, actually. I do. I like this edition. This is a sprawling, beautiful, brutal, complex book. I read it summer of 2023, and it was a very important experience for me. East of Eden explores the duality of good and evil, the burden of inherited character, and the search for personal acceptance. It's centered around this Hebrew concept of Timshel, which means thou mayest. The novel's core message is that mankind is not doomed by fate or a fallen nature, but is granted the supreme gift of choice to overcome darkness. It's also a retelling of the biblical Cain and Abel story. The characters are so complex, and it's one of those books where also the setting is also a character. I am quite intimidated by big books. But this one was, I did speed through it, because it is so readable. Such a stupid way to describe a book. Yeah, it should be readable. It's a book. Next, Stoner by John Williams. I hate this edition. I will be on the lookout for another edition. This has been getting a lot more love recently, but I still think it's extremely... What's that? Oh, no. Sorry. Okay, this is the bookmark that my ex bought me in Vietnam shortly after or before they broke up with me over text. Hard to know at what point they bought this for me. Anyway, so yes, I was reading this book during a quite difficult time in my life. God. Yeah, this is a campus novel. Sorry, I promise I'm not crying about the bookmark, but I did have some sort of allergy reaction and I've just had a sneezing fit, so I'm sniffly, okay? I would tell you if I was crying about the bookmark. I'm not ashamed of that sort of thing. So, this really explores the dignity of an ordinary life. I'm someone who has oscillated between wanting this really exciting, extravagant, adventurous life, but then realizing maybe that's not me, actually, and I more find meaning and beauty and satisfaction in a quiet, ordinary, peaceful life, doing crossword puzzles, building Lego, playing ping pong, reading. And yeah, it's very much about the intellectual hermit, the scholarly hermit. I wouldn't say I'm scholarly or particularly intellectual, but I am definitely somewhat of a hermit. And the pursuit of knowledge is very important to me, and lifelong learning. And that's a big theme in this book. Also, the transcendent value of literature. It explores that. Disappointment in love and marriage. Like I say, I was reading this, I was going through a very long, drawn-out, devastating breakup. And, yeah, I saw a lot of similarities to my situation to Stoner's situation. Yeah, his name is Stoner. It's his last name. What's his first name? I actually don't know. William. It's William Stoner. Yeah. Just a really, really beautiful book. And then I also picked up his other two books. Do you know what I hate? I love these covers. Okay, look at this cover. amazing, beautiful. But why are they giving a little preview of this terrible cover? Butcher's Crossing, and then Augustus, and again, just stop it. So yeah, I'm gonna read his two other books. I've heard they're not as good as Stoner, but people probably say that about Steinbeck's other novels, and I honestly love them all equally. So, all right, a little bit of a change of pace. A book of short stories. Okay. No One Belongs Here More Than You, stories by Miranda July. There is one particular story in this. I mean, I love them all. There's one particular story in this that just I found so moving. It's called The Swim Team. Yeah. And it's about this woman who moves to this kind of random town after a breakup, and she discovers that none of her colleagues in this new job that she has can swim, and they're mostly like older people, like they're older than her. So she decides to teach them how to swim, but there's no like local pool, so she teaches them in her living room, like with no water. And it's like funny, but it's tender and it's moving, and it's I don't know, I just love it so much, and it just feels like this portrayal of like human connection and how it can show up in the most ordinary yet extraordinary ways. Yeah, and all the other stories as well, they're kind of absurd like that, but not for the sake of absurdity, just like, yeah, very tender. I would say they're very tender. For some reason, whenever I'm dating someone, I really want to read them that short story. Mostly they don't care. But one day I'll meet someone and I'll read it to them, and we will bond over it, and it'll be like, wow, you're perfect for me, let's get married, or something to that effect. Anyway.
Hi, Willow. What's your favorite book? You want to say something?
I swear she's here. It does look like I'm talking. There she is. Willow. I love you. I love you. I love you. Yes, I do. Leave. How all of my relationships ended. Okay. Sorry. I don't know why I'm like being so like passive aggressive about love and relationships in this episode. Anyway, okay. All right, this one's kind of cliche, blah, blah, blah. Man's Search for Meaning. But it's a absolutely amazing book, and I'm sure you know what it's about, okay? So I'm not really going to talk too much about it. It's funny, though, because it does maybe contradict a few of the books. One of the books in particular that I'm going to be talking about. But there is no contradiction, no. Because, as Walt Whitman said, I contain a multitude. Yeah, I think the entire premise of it can be summed up. Emotion, which is suffering, ceases to be suffering as soon as we form a clear and precise picture of it. It's just about, that if you can get through anything as long as you have meaning, and also like meaning is subjective. It's whatever meaning we assign to life. And I like that. I really like that. And I feel like I was like quite changed after this book, and I operated my life in a very like different way, and I went back to college, and I might need to read it again because I've fallen off a little bit, but okay. Next we have The Stranger by Albert Camus. I have the edition that says The Outsider for some reason. This is very much about absurdism, which is Albert Camus' whole thing. It has one of the most famous opening lines of a novel. My mother died today, or maybe yesterday. I don't know. It's a very famous opening line. It's kind of about the meaningless of human life. Everything's meaningless. Which, you know what? It does kind of tie in to this. Like, yes, it's like intrinsically meaningless, probably. But we give it our own meaning, you know? Yeah, I saw myself a lot in the main character. Red flag? Yeah, probably. This is also a really great place to start with the classics. It's very short. You can read it in a day. It's very readable. Okay, very readable. Just listen to this little excerpt, okay? Standing before this symbolic night bursting with stars, I opened myself for the first time to the tender indifference of the world. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Okay, read it. The Pisces by Melissa Broder. This is probably my favorite book of all time. It's probably my favorite book of all time. I've read it so many times. On the surface, it's about a woman who falls in love with a merman. And that doesn't really sound like my thing, because I'm not into fantasy. I'm not into surrealism. Let's talk about some of the themes. Fulfillment versus fantasy. Reality versus fantasy. Reality versus myth. The main character is writing a 13-year-long dissertation on Sappho, and she's her whole argument that she's trying to prove in this dissertation is that the missing pieces of Sappho's poetry is what makes it meaningful. But she also is like admitting to herself that it's like kind of bullshit. She doesn't even really believe it, but it's very symbolic, because emptiness is a big theme in this, and how to cope with emptiness and the things people use to fill the emptiness within. It's about obsession. It's about love addiction. And it's really, really funny as well. It's really funny. Okay, I think this is a good segue into this, The Eden Project, In Search of the Magical Other. This is nonfiction. It's Jungian. It's a Jungian perspective on relationship. I'm big into Jungian psychology and philosophy. I'm flicking through this and I pretty much underlined the entire book. But yeah, this really rocked my world and changed my entire perspective on relationships. Now, it changed my perspective. It didn't immediately change my behavior. And now, as I have been, over the past few years, I guess, been changing my behavior and my approach to dating, this has even more meaning, because it's just about not trying to get someone else to rescue you or save you or fulfill you, and not trying to do that for someone else, because it's a trap that everyone falls into. We all fall into it. It's glorified in every form of media. So I think this is just a really the name, The Eden Project, is that it's the Eden Project is the search for the magical other, and it's this lifelong project that people go on as soon as they start dating, as soon as they're old enough, or as soon as they have those first sparks of attraction, probably in their adolescence. And it is a fruitless, devastating project that can never happen. It can literally never happen. It's impossible. And maybe that's part of the appeal, It's about moving from codependence to interdependence. That's what it's all about. And it's really, really beautifully written. And it has poetry in it and mythology. It's my kind of book. Next, we have The Great Gatsby, one of my 11 copies of this. This is meaningful for me because it was my entry way back into reading and into classics in general. I was, for some reason, really intimidated by The Great Gatsby, about the thought of reading it, because I didn't know anything about classics. I expected every classic to be like The Odyssey. This is about the American dream. It's about, again, illusion versus reality, fantasy versus reality, the past and the future, romanticizing the past, class and hierarchy, and also really funny. I found this really funny. But sometimes I find books funny and they're not supposed to be funny, but this is supposed to be funny, right? The last book that I'm going to talk about is, I don't own it, which is crazy that I don't own this book. Flowers for Algernon. Oh my gosh. If there was a book that sums up ignorance is bliss, it would be this book. About the tension between emotion and intellect. It's about the ethics of science and the limits of science. It's about alienation and isolation. Basically it's written through the perspective of this man. It's his diary, and he starts out, he has some sort of intellectual disability. They're running these experiments on him to make him smarter, but it goes too far, let's say. It's the first chunk of it you can kind of barely understand, because he has extreme dyslexia and stuff like that, and then just nothing prepared me for how amazing this and heart-wrenching this book was. I don't see it talked a lot about, actually. I don't talk about it a lot, so... Yeah, I don't know. Leave a comment telling me books that made sense that you read. Okay, bye.